I'd like to introduce James Tuckerman. Yay. As you can see from his hat, the B2B maestro. So I won't do more than that. I'll hand over to you, James, to have a chat to our guys about what you think you might be able to help them.
Thank you, Joanne. Joanne did one of our programs some time back, and it's wonderful when you connect with someone and you just click and you see opportunities, and then you can connect and you can partner and you can refer and you can support each other's networks, which is going to be a bit of a theme today. I would like to kick things off by turning things over to you guys and gals to start things off. And I want to ask you a question, and it's a fairly simple question. You can see it on the screen right now. What's the hardest thing about sales and marketing if you are a mediator? All right, what's the hardest thing about sales and marketing if you are a mediator? So I want you to use the chat tool, which is on the right of your screen somewhere. I think by this point in the evolution of technology, we're all reasonably familiar with this new technology called Zoom. I think Joanne and I were talking the other day, and we've been running training sessions via Zoom since 2017.
Yeah, probably a bit more before that for me, because we've always been about accessibility and online. How do you reach the whole of the country? It's the only way.
Absolutely.
Without a big road trip.
It's absolutely the way of the world. And as well, too, it's an important observation and lesson taking part in these things and seeing how other people are doing it, because I know that Joanne runs mediation exercises using Zoom. And I know that a lot of people in the mediation world resist that idea because they feel they have to be in the room and sense the vibe and feel that face-to-face. Not so much, Joanne?
Yeah, look, absolutely. So, look, COVID's been a great educator for a lot of people, and so I don't know, probably most of the people here I would assume have done some mediation online. If not, come and I'll teach you how to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a huge accelerator, I would call it. Everything has moved forward really, really fast. Now, I asked the question, what's the hardest thing about sales and marketing if you're a mediator? And I can already see that Craig and Jessica and Tracy and Julia have already piped in, shared their views. Tracy, if you want to leave a comment that everyone can see, leave it for all panelists and attendees. Now, this is a workshop, which means that the more you put in, the more you will get out. When you participate, not only are you reinforcing the lesson in your own mind, but when you reinforce it, you're more likely to take action later. And when you take action, action creates momentum, and momentum leads to momentum. Otherwise, without taking action, you may as well be home watching reruns of The Bachelorette on 9 Now, okay? So do your best to participate. I asked the question, what's the hardest thing about sales and marketing if you're a mediator? Craig said, it seems like there's a lot of competition. Guess what? That's not exclusive to being a mediator, Craig. That is pretty much the world right now. And that is because we don't live in these little geographic pockets anymore. It means that we're competing with people all over the joint, whatever industry you're in. Jessica, getting a ClickFunnels system up and running for your business. So having all the different technology pieces that are all working together. I'm going to share an alternative to that specific tool a little bit later that you might find a little bit easier. Knowing your worth, says Tracy. Yeah, the hardest thing about sales and marketing if you're a mediator, knowing your worth, how to price yourself, how to elevate your authority, your credibility, position yourself above others. Priscilla, the ebbs and flows of bookings. Yeah, I knew that this one was going to come up. And not knowing what is coming in from marketing or word of mouth. That's about measurement. Anna, not knowing where to start. We've all been there. Change management, says Fiona. Okay. I'm not quite sure which bit of the change. Is it just the need to change? And
I think you've jumped over one that Julia put in. When you're doing the marketing, people might not have the problem where they need a mediator right now, which is a really important one for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that there is the ebbs and the flows and the bookings, and it's the one-off work versus the repeat work. Not knowing to start, putting effort into getting work from a client that is not likely to be a repeat client. There we go. There's that exact one. Well, you know what? I had a stiff cup of coffee a little bit earlier, and I went, you know what? I'm gonna have a guess. I'm gonna put on my thinking cap, and I'd like to say, if I was a mediator, what would be my biggest challenges? And interestingly, these aren't exclusive to mediators. Okay, right? These are pretty common across the B2B world. Consistency of projects. So who said that? Julia said that. Priscilla said that. Yeah, we can get caught up in a world where we get clients that are either reactive, and that is, I've got a problem right now and I need some help right now. And then we've got other clients or referral partners where we can get recurring work. What would you prefer, reactive or recurring? Write down one of those words using the chat tool. We're reinforcing the message here. Reactive or recurring. Recurring client work is always better. It evens out the lumpy bits, the peaks and the troughs. And we want the consistency of projects, or the consistency of cases, or the consistency of work, whatever language it is that you might use. Wonderful to see so many people getting involved. Too many conflicting opinions. Now, I think it was Anna that said not knowing where to start. I think Jessica said something a little bit similar. This is a picture from the 1987 New York Stock Exchange trading pits. And what you can imagine is a whole lot of people all yelling their opinions at each other, right? At a really high level. And I'll tell you what, this is basically the visual equivalent of my Facebook feed at this point in time, which is basically all these people telling me that I need to be doing all these different things simultaneously. The reality is that the things that you need to do haven't changed that much in about a decade. There are some fundamentals that you need to get on top of and be aware of. Everything above that is finesse. So too many conflicting opinions is not a good one. Tech tool overwhelm. Now, by now, most business operators realize that if they want to stay competitive and if they want to level up their business to a point where it's not all dependent on them working in the business all the time, they are going to need to embrace different types of technology tools, whether we are talking about the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, or simply managing your business, managing your client work, managing your partners, doing follow-up, making sure bills get paid. All those different things do require a whole bunch of technology tools now. And it's not unusual to experience and feel technology overwhelm. And the moment that I said, what are your big challenges? I think the second comment came from someone talking about one particular technology tool for one particular purpose. And what you'll find right now is that there's a tool for this, there's a tool for that, there's a tool for this, there's a tool for that, there's a tool for this. In the context of what we're talking about today, we want to try and simplify things and bring them down to one tool or at least one system that you can rely on and keep coming back to. So my next question for you, are you ready? If you could get consistency of clients, if you could, I don't know, manage to put up some barriers so that you could appropriately filter all those words and voices. If you could get on top of the tech tool overwhelm, how would that make you feel? So when you think about the opposite, I said, what are the challenges that you talked about? If you could get consistency, if you could get clarity, if you could have one simple mechanism, how would you feel? I like Tracy's answer. Woohoo! That's right. Julie's in control. Priscilla says, awesome. I got a piece of feedback in one of our emails the other day. It's worthwhile writing this on the screen if I can find a place to write it. I'll see if I can write it on this one. Somebody responded to, we have these pre-training questionnaires that we send to our clients before we run a group mentoring call. And we always ask what their epiphanies are. And this woman, Louise, said, I am finally feeling, I love this, decision clarity. Man, I just loved that expression. I'm going to use it all the time. Decision clarity. And it's the opposite of, oh, where should I focus my attention now? What should I do next? Should I do this? I just saw this thing on Facebook. Somebody's telling me that I need to add this thing with this thing to add this thing and then that thing at the end. And then as somebody said, all those expenses add up and it becomes very, very frustrating. Decision clarity. I'm going to ask you to write that down. I've asked you to write down a few things so far, but I think that this is an important one. Decision clarity. You could even write goal equals decision clarity, because I think at the highest level, this is one of the most important things that we can all get in our businesses and in our lives generally, no matter what industry it is that we have. Woohoo! Maybe just say it out loud. Decision clarity. I love that idea. I love the things that you said. Awesome. Very happy. Jessica said confident, just to focus on facilitating the service. Yeah, to focus on the parts of the business that you love. David said something similar as well too. David, thanks for getting involved and sharing your voice. You know what? I'm going to add something to the training today. I don't think I have a slide on this, but I'm going to add it. I'm going to add a participation bonus. And the participation bonus, which I'm going to have to figure out what that is, Joanne, the participation bonus is a bonus simply for participating. So if you say anything at any time, like, hey, whoa, hee, or anything that you feel like saying, or even just hi, if you haven't participated right now, I'm going to get you a participation bonus. Don't know what it is yet. That's awesome. Thank you all for saying how you're going to feel. Craig said, James is a good man. See, that's a really good way to participate. Butter me up. There you go. That's the way to do it. All right. So on the screen right now, you can see the holy grail of sales and marketing since sales and marketing got complex. And when I say got complex, from the beginning of selling something which is a complex product or service. So what you guys and gals sell is fairly abstract. Fortunately, we've got a name that goes around it called mediation. But we're not talking about selling pots next to the edge of the Nile or a modern day equivalent. You guys and gals ain't selling $9 umbrellas online, if you know what I mean, right? It's a more complex product or service. So what you see is the holy grail. I love your participation. Thank you, Barbara. What you can see on the screen is the holy grail of sales and marketing since the beginning of the time. And it usually goes like this. You want to be able to attract an opportunity. Yes? Then you want to pre-qualify that opportunity, because people are going to reach out to you and they're going to engage with you. And some clients, some partners, some cases are going to be better than others. Not all opportunities are created equal. Now, in your world, chances are you're going to want to have a conversation with someone, and that's where you book an appointment. After somebody books an appointment with you, you might not be doing this now, and if you are, you're probably doing it in a fairly hands-on way. You want to be able to elevate anticipation before that conversation, and that's about elevating your credibility, elevating your authority, so when you get on that call, you are the prize. A little bit earlier, I said, what are the challenges? And somebody said, knowing what to charge or getting paid a premium rate. That's a good thing to have as part of your model, elevate anticipation before the meeting if you want to charge premium rates. The next thing is that you're probably going to have to host that meeting. You're going to have that conversation. Make sure that there's a meeting of minds rather than a clash of heads to make sure that you're the right fit. And if you are the right fit, there's probably going to be a follow-up piece. And the follow-up piece, well, you might get a definitive yes on the call. You might get a tentative yes. You might decide that there's no opportunity there at all, and there's a definitive no. But in most instances, there's going to be follow-up and some sort of relationship. Now, the close in your world is slightly different, and we're going to come back to that. But however, there always is some tick-off point where a commitment is made or some dollars transact hands. And that there is the close in the Holy Grail. Now, a lot of people might see this as the end. It's the conclusion. I've got what I wanted. I booked the work, job done. But the reality, as you know, as decent, ethical, proactive human beings, is that after somebody comes into your world, there's usually a process that is sometimes called onboarding. And the purpose of that, and it's funny to use this language in the world of mediation, but the purpose of that is to deliver value and get somebody to their first win. And I'm sure you've got two types of clients, ones which are mediation people that you do the mediation work with, but then there are also the partners as well too. And their idea of what is going to be a quality experience, a win, is going to be different in their world. So it is funny that I'm using that language. It might even be confusing. So let's call it deliver value. But what we can see right here is a classic funnel. We start with more people at the top and we end up with less people at the bottom. To really simplify this and help you remember this particular structure, I have a couple different acronyms. Are you ready? We have TOFU, MOFU, BOFU. Top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, and you'll be needing to do different things at different stages. Today, we're largely going to be focusing on tofu. So if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, or you just like the taste of tofu, or you're trying to scale back on meat like me and my family, give us a shout out. Say, I love tofu. Let's rock and roll. All right, let's get busy. So we are talking about sales and marketing. And when we talk about sales and marketing in an online context, this day and age, it's largely online marketing. There's always an online component. If you want to run your sales and marketing in a way that you can scale. Okay. This whole structure that I ran through here, tofu, mofu, bofu, this is how it's been done for such a long time. The difference is that if this was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, just about every one of these steps would be undertaken by a human in a very manual, process-driven way, but it would still be undertaken by a human being. Now, where we're at in the evolution of technology in our businesses, a lot of those steps can be automated, which is why I start talking about online, digital, technology, and using those different things. Now, I'm going to introduce a concept called your ultimate online transaction. And this is going to be really important because I know that a lot of you guys and gals, when it comes to sales and marketing, you might not necessarily be thinking about this online landscape. And when I talk about an ultimate online transaction, I'm going to break down the words for you here. Ultimate. Ultimate means that it is the last and final step in the journey online. And the reason why is that if an event happens online, we can track it. And if we track it, we can have a transaction, which becomes ultimate online transaction. Now, the reality is that there are all sorts of different types of businesses with all sorts of different types of business models. And when I talk about an ultimate online transaction, there are some businesses that immediately go, yeah, I get that. I know exactly what you're describing. You're describing an e-commerce sale, aren't you, James? I pull out my credit card, tappity, 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 tap, and I buy something. Cha-ching! That there is an ultimate online transaction. It's the final step. It's online. It's a transaction. It can be measured. Now, if I'm in retail, it might be a coupon. That there becomes my ultimate online transaction. I go to a website, I download the coupon. It's the last step online. Then the business moves into the real world where somebody comes into the shop to redeem the coupon. It could be something called the outgoing click. Now, this is a media site. So a media site makes some money when somebody clicks a link on an ad, or it could be a referral link or a marketplace like Compare the Meerkat, where you click on something, you go somewhere else, they make some money. But that's not you guys and gals now, is it? I'm assuming. Which leaves us one more option here. And we call this the inbound VIP. And the inbound VIP does not stand for very important person. It stands for very interested prospect. And that is when somebody is coming into your world and they are booking some time with you because it is an ultimate online transaction and it indeed can be measured. So once again, I'd like you to use the chat tool. So we've got some clarity about our ultimate online transaction. In your world, and I'm really curious, I really need to know this, so I really do need you to participate. In your world, what is your ultimate online transaction? Are people arriving on your website, filling out a form, putting in their credit card details and buying something from you? Are they using some sort of online payment tool? Or does the relationship usually start with some sort of booking where they book a conversation with you? Now, when I say book, for most people, in most industries where the goal is the inbound VIP, most people still don't use a booking tool in the way that I'm talking about. What normally happens is that they get an email from someone saying, hey, can we have a conversation? And they say, hey, well, how's Tuesday? And the next person says, Tuesday's good for me. Is Tuesday good for you? And then there's this back and forth and back and forth. So Julia says, book a discovery call. I've got a problem with the word discovery call, but I'm going to come back to it. But I'm glad you clearly say book. Craig says, call me. Call me now. Call me now. Contact us for a free consultation and no obligation quote. Priscilla says, booking mediation online via website, but not paying online. Interesting. I'm learning a lot about you guys and gals right now. Sam says, relationships start with me reaching out for a cup of tea. We offer virtual coffees. Would you like to book a virtual coffee date? Book, says David. Joanne says, for training e-commerce. For mediation, it's inquiry via email. So at the pointy end of this ultimate online transaction, for most people, it sounds like it's going to be book. They're going to book a little bit of time with you. But I'm guessing, based on your answers, that for most people, this is done in a fairly ad hoc way. And unfortunately, if you want to position yourself as the prize, when you say, hey, let's catch up and have a discovery call, they say, okay, how's next Tuesday? You say, how's next Tuesday? And they go, unfortunately, I can't do next Tuesday. And you say, how's next Wednesday? And they say, I can't do next Wednesday. And then you say, well, I can do any time on Friday, but not on Thursday. And then they say, how's Thursday? And you go, all right, let's do Thursday, right? Because you want to win the work, right? And this whole back and forth progressively undermines all the good work that you've done in positioning yourself as the best person for the type of person that you're speaking with. So I highly recommend this particular building block. It's a tech building block. It's an online booking tool. And this is a tool where they can book a time with you. And I love an online booking tool. And the reason why I love an online booking tool so much is because if you asked me and you said, James, how many conversations did you book with potential clients in the last week or in the last month or in the last quarter? I can tell you with absolute certainty. This is how many bookings I got. Someone has to book the time with me, so I'm elevating my authority. It's all managed. People love a system. They love a process. We're all saving everybody else's time, which is showing respect for the types of people that we're speaking with. But at the end of the day, as Peter Drucker once said, you can't improve what you don't measure. So if you're not measuring it, you can't improve it. And if there's one metric in your world that's probably worth measuring, it's how many conversations that you're having with potential clients or potential partners. So Priscilla says, I have an online booking tool, saves you needing a PA or constantly getting availability email inquiries. Yeah. When's good for you? No, when's good for you? No, when's good for you? Now, somebody said they have a discovery session. Now you'll notice that people often offer things like a discovery session or a breakthrough session, or it's very vague. Hey, let's catch up sometime and explore ways that we can support each other. All of those things may have worked 2 years ago, 3 years ago, definitely 5 years ago. But the whole vague, hey, let's explore ways to catch up together, people are too wary these days. To them, it sounds like, hey, let's catch up and explore ways that I can take your money, right? That's the way it sounds. Let's catch up for a free consultation or no obligation quote. Once again, doesn't sit well with people. The breakthrough session is a funny one. And I'm not sure it's a big one in the mediation space, but the breakthrough session is a lot of people actually don't want to break through. Have you heard that expression? You say to people, who wants change? They go, yay. Who wants to change? Oh, no, I don't want to change. I want change. Don't want to change though. But the discovery one's a weird one because it sounds like I'm going to come on the call and I'm going to mine you for everything that I need to know to sell you. So we talk about a concept called an appointment with purpose. And an appointment with purpose outlines the value of the call in its very name. So this, guys and gals, is going to be my participation bonus. Are you ready? I'm going to send you my appointment with purpose roadmap. Now, the appointment with purpose roadmap is just a way to frame the meeting that you're going to have. It's a naming process. So in our world, we have the target audience, B2B, the outcome, funnel mapping, and then we give it a thing name, like assessment, strategy, planning, session. These are all things that people are comfortable paying for. So we have a B2B funnel mapping planning session. And people go, I'm B2B, I'm that audience. I'm going to get my funnel mapped and it's going to be a session, which historically I've learned that these are things that I would pay for. So Louise said, ooh, I like the appointment with purpose. Yeah, it's a super powerful next level way of framing the meeting that you have with clients rather than begging people to catch up with you. I've seen people even offering gifts. I'm going to give you a gold class ticket to have a meeting with me. Like, is it going to be that little value to me? Whereas the ultimate goal of an appointment with purpose is a situation where people actually pay you for the meeting. It's extraordinary. So here is our action-packed agenda. I'm going to run through our monetization mantra for mediators. Incidentally, this is our monetization mantra for everybody, but gee, it sounds good as a monetization mantra for mediators. We love alliteration. This is the single greatest marketing stumbling block for mediators, for most business owners that are running the types of businesses that you guys and gals run. Lesson number 2, don't neglect the untapped 97%. And then I've got a typo in my slide. All right, lesson number 3. I've copied and pasted to something. Lesson number 3, automation equals freedom, how to accelerate the client journey largely on autopilot. I am going to give you the opportunity to learn more from me and my crew and continue to working together. And in the process, I'm going to introduce a concept called intelligent outbound, which I think for some people is going to be the most valuable piece of our time together. Jessica asked a question. Can I confirm that this appointment with purpose is always free of charge? Nothing is always. So for example, we offer an appointment with purpose for free. And that is because we know what our close rate is. We know what outcomes we're going to get, and that's part of our process. But we have clients that sell their appointment with purpose. One of our clients sells their appointment with purpose for $1,600. Maybe let's come back to that when we get to the end. So anyway, who is this James Tuckerman dude? I already know a little bit about you. Spooky. Yes, Spooky. You filled out online forms. You've been answering my questions. I've been learning a fair bit about you. When you registered for the webinar, you may have seen an opportunity to perhaps maybe even book some time with us where you answered some more questions again. Now, I know quite a little bit about you, but I think it's also important that you know a little bit about me because I could be a 20-something internet marketer that knows how to sell $17 ebooks online, lives in my mum's basement, and calls myself an internet guru. I could be that person, but spoiler alert, I'm not in my 20s. I could also be one of those salespeople from the 1980s, 1990s, always be closing, ABC, lock them in, look within to lock them in, all that stuff. And no, I'm not that guy either. No, I'm a guy who has cut my teeth in the business world by launching a national business magazine called Anthill Magazine. It was very popular about 10 years ago. I launched that from my sister's old bedroom. She'd moved out. My sister's old bedroom from my parents' suburban home in my mid-20s. I moved into the room. It still had the Wham posters on the wall and the pink love hearts on the curtains, and I launched a national business magazine. I was named Best Small Publisher in Australia twice in my 20s, and we went on to rival the market leaders like BRW. We ended up in the top 3. The reason why I bring it up is because it was an intersection type business where we were selling subscriptions, which is at that time involved a lot of digital marketing, but we were also selling advertising packages, and that there is a lot to do with sales. And I don't know if anyone's ever been involved in selling advertising, but back then, before it was measurable, it was like selling hot air. It was one of the toughest things that you could ever sell. And that is indeed where I cut my teeth. So I want you to cast your minds back to the year 2009, which was the 2008, 2009 the GFC. And I don't know how many guys and gals on the call right now have one of these, but give me a yes or a no if you have a website. So if you've got a website, give me a Y or a yes. If you don't have a website, give me a no. So the year was 2008. The GFC had hit. It was the perfect storm for magazines. Steve Jobs had launched this damn thing called the iPad. Google was making advertising measurable. Everyone was pulling back on their marketing spend. It was the absolute perfect storm. What a disaster. So what we did is we invested heavily in our website. That's what we thought our solution was going to be. And we spent $30,000 on a website. Quite a big number, yes? $30,000 on a website. And this was going to solve all our problems, right? Because that's what digital marketing does. It's a website, solve all your problems, right? So we spent $30,000 on a website. And if any of you are thinking, yeah, it was a big investment then, and it continues to be a big investment right now. But anyway, we spent $30,000 on a website and it wasn't performing the way that we expected it to. Now, if you've got a website and it's little more than a glorified brochure, give me an unhappy face. Do you know how to do that? What is it? :/frowny / or just give me a wah. So if you've got a website that is not delivering to your expectations, give me a wah. But anyway, that was the case at this particular time. So me and my board were meeting roughly every week. Pretty much every week we were meeting to discuss what was going wrong. And at this time, our sales model on our website looked like this. Are you ready? We had buttons all over the website that said buy, and then they would go to a cart page, which would be about taking the money. Now, as I said, this is a subscription model. We would have all over the website, buy, 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 buy. They would click that button and it would take them to the page that said cart. Now, in your world, oh, that's so many sad faces. In your world, that might be book, or contact us for a free consultation or no obligation quote, or it just might be contact us. And a lot of websites these days, still the only call to action that they have is contact us, and that's it. Contact us and we will endeavor to get back to you as soon as possible. Not very effective from a marketing standpoint now, is it? So we had all these buttons, buy, 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 and they would point to a cart page. And I said to my board, this has been absolutely underwhelming. And I hate to admit it, but at this time, while my team was made up of all sorts of different interesting people, guys, gals, straight, queer, disabled, colored, not colored, all this stuff. My board itself was pretty much made up of a bunch of, am I allowed to say, old white men, right? I feel uncomfortable saying that because I'm not far off from being an old white man myself. But anyway, that's what it was. And I came and I said, listen, I've got some other ideas. And by the way, to the old white men on the call, you are valuable. And I hope to be valuable, but it's worthwhile in this wild, crazy universe that we all live in to bring in multiple perspectives. Yes? It's why I love training. It's why you love training. It's why you went to Joanne's world. Anyway, so I came and I said, you know what? I got another idea. Instead of having all these buttons that say buy, 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 why don't we start with something that looks like a gift? Like a free report or something of high perceived value to the target audience. Let's do that. And then I pointed them to a page which is sometimes called the success page. And the success page, I got to tell you guys and gals, is one of the most powerful pieces of real estate on digital real estate on the planet that I'm aware of. I didn't know this at the time. I now know it. It's a super high converting page. It's the page that happens after a transaction. And it says success or thank you or confirmed or confirmation or something like that, right? And here's the idea that I had. Let's just start with a gift. We'll open it up and we'll say, get this free thing. And then when they opt in, we'd say, success. Do you want to know a secret? Use this coupon code SECRET, right? And you'll get a subscription with a 20% discount. And then that there would point to the cart page. Add an extra step. That's what I proposed to my board. And they said, that is a dumb idea. Now I picked my board because they're good people. We're good people. and we often got along, really collegial relationship. And this particular night it got heated. Why would you do that? Why would you add an extra step? Why would you hide the opportunity for people to, engage with you in your ultimate online transaction? We didn't have that terminology at the time, but to buy from you or to book for you or to take things to the next level. This is like having a coffee shop and pulling down the blinds. This is like opening your business in the middle of the desert. All these random wild analogies, and we debated the idea, and it was a heated debate. And then eventually everybody went home, and I went, you know what? Peter Drucker once said, you can't improve what you can't measure. I can measure this thing. I can measure this thing called an ultimate online transaction. And we've just spent $30,000 on a website that I can tweak. So I'm going to tweak it, and I'm going to run this for a couple of days, and I'm going to see what happens. Now, guys and girls, I want you to have a guess. What do you think happened next? Did my subscription sales go up, or did they go down? Now, I think you know the answer, because I wouldn't be telling you the story if they didn't go up. But I want you to think a little bit deeper. How much up did they go up by? Did they go up by 5%, 10%, 20%? You give me a number. Give me a percentage, guys and gals. 40%, 30%, 50%, 100%, says Tracy, 50%. Sharon says 50%. Anyone else? David's given us a 55%. Rock and roll, 80. Craig said 500%. Are you ready? 800%. 800%. So, wow. Lordy, says Sam. So this was a game changer. So imagine if we're doing 100 subscription sales a week, suddenly we're doing 800. 1,000 sales becomes 8,000 sales. Now, let's bring this back to your world. How many incoming VIPs did you get last week? Or how many incoming VIPs did you get last month? Now, you might have a number in your head from experience. You might have an average over the lifetime of your business. You might actually measure it, like some of the people that already have some sort of booking tool. But imagine for a second that you could take that number, whatever it is, maybe write that number down on a piece of paper. I'm going to make a guesstimate, and this is how many inbound inquiries or referrals or opportunities that were presented my way last month. Think about that. Write down that number on a piece of paper and then times it by 8. I tell you this story because it was a massive game changer. It was a massive game changer for us and my business. My business has evolved and changed since then. Now I run the B2B group, which is training, consulting, technology, and it's very much layered. But this particular principle was a game changer, and we've held it close to our hearts ever since. It was a massive discovery then, and we continue to share this massive discovery with people to this very day. And guys and gals, when I had my next board meeting 7 days later, that was a good board meeting. It certainly was. Wow, says Priscilla. Amazing, says Jessica. What do I get in the back to front? Anyway, what's the moral of the story? It's fairly simple. You wouldn't ask a stranger to marry you on the first date, now would you? It would come across as sleazy and desperate. So why do we do this online all the time, particularly on social media at this point? So what's the moral of this story? We went from 2 touches to 3 touches, and we increased our conversion rate. What therefore is the optimal number of touches? So we went from 2 touches to 3 touches, and we got a better result, and it was automated, 100% automated. Well, according to the psychologists of the world, it's going to take 7 touches or interactions or meaningful points of engagement for someone to say, you are the mediator that I want to work with more than anybody else. Or you are the mediator that I want to prioritize as the person I'm going to be referring most of my cases, my workload to. According to the psychologists, it's 7 touches. Now, Google decided to analyze gazillions of touch points across hundreds of millions of websites. think it was like, it was like hundreds of millions of websites, which is probably billions of data points. And they analyzed a whole bunch of different scenarios. I talked about ultimate online transactions a little bit earlier, e-commerce sales, coupons, outgoing click. And they looked at more complex sales where the person was booking an inbound VIP, and the average number of touches was 14. That was the average. It could be 4, it could be 40. But you know what? That there is a lot of touches for you guys and gals to be doing manually all the time, 7 to 14, which is why we have structures like this. Now, this is a structure of a process that we call the recipe, and it breaks down the essential building blocks of a high-performing funnel if you're selling a complex product or service. One of those building blocks we've already talked about, and it's this one, your ultimate online transaction. And that is where someone books a time with you, or even better, they book you for an appointment with purpose, or even better, they pay you for an appointment with purpose. Although, as I said, that's fairly next level, but I'm going to plant the seed because it's the opposite of the way that most people act or behave. And that there is the model that we're going to be breaking down today. Incidentally, let's count out the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's come back to that. Monetize mantra for mediators, the 3 Ps. So I asked you a little bit earlier, what are the greatest challenges? And one of the challenges that came up was consistency of work. And I said, what would you prefer, reactive clients or repeat clients? And you said recurring. That's the type of clients that you want. So this is, are you ready? This here is the monetization mantra. Once again, if you've got a piece of paper, write it down. If you printed out the worksheet, you can write something down on a piece of paper. Are you ready? This is a mnemonic. So hopefully it's going to stick in your head. Are you ready? 1, 1, 1. 1 person, 1 problem, 1 product. If you look at any dramatically scalable business that sells a complex product or service, they either have a massive army of staff or they have managed to adopt this monetization mantra. 1 person, 1 problem, 1 product. Now, the problem is that if you're running a mediation business, you've actually got 2 types of client. You've got the type of client that is reactive. And the reactive client, unfortunately, are really hard to target from a sales and marketing perspective. And the reason why is the reactive client is like me if I bust my tooth, which I did about 2 weeks ago. I bust my tooth. And Joanna, what did I do? Joanne, what did I do when I busted my tooth 2 weeks ago?
Find a dentist.
I went on Google and I found a dentist and I booked my time with the dentist. I went to the dentist, they fixed my bloody tooth. And next time something goes wrong, I will probably do exactly the same thing. Now, the problem is when you're targeting people who are reactive all the time, there's a whole bunch of different problems with that. One is that you can't find them. Really hard to find them. I don't know who if I'm a dentist, I don't know who's breaking their tooth right now. It's just impossible. You don't know who's going through some sort of like business dispute or family breakup. You don't know these different things. It's also very difficult for other people to refer you because I might not know that my friend who runs a business is going through a difficult situation with his or her business partner. I might not know that because he or she might not tell me that. I might not know who's going through a family breakup because it's personal, right? So it's really hard to target someone who has a need rather than someone who is classically falls into the idea of a target audience. 1 person, 1 problem, 1 product. But if you can isolate and identify a type of person that might be the type of business or individual that could deliver recurring work your way, you can decide to focus on that particular type of person by identifying the problems that are consistent within their business or industry. If you understand the problems that they have, you can create a gift, for example. You can frame your appointment with purpose to reflect those problems, and those are examples of products. And rather than saying, hey, let's catch up and explore ways that we can work together, you can say, I pulled this together for someone like you, or let's book a call for a conversation which is designed to talk about you and your specific needs. Which is why we have this game called the Doctor on the Plane test. And the process that I just introduced, one person, one problem, one product, despite the fact that it's a very simple mnemonic, is not an easy process to work through. It's not a simple process at all, particularly in the early stages of the business where you will take work from anyone and everyone with a checkbook and a pulse. You know, if they can fog a mirror in the early days of the deal, you'll take the business, you'll take the work. And when I run through this process, and when I'm talking about one person, one problem, one product, I'm not saying you turn your back on inbound opportunities or reactive opportunities or someone that stumbles on your website or refers business your way. I'm talking about if you want to create something that's scalable and repeatable and manageable and consistent, it really helps if you have a clearly defined target audience. So this is where I'm going to push it back on you once again. And what I want to hear from you, has anyone on the call right now got something that they believe's a consistent or repeatable, easy to describe or define target audience? Someone that you think that you could be reaching out to or engaging with that's likely to need your services or is likely to send more and more people your way. So Priscilla says, yes, I have repeat business. What are the types of businesses that you work with that deliver you the repeat business? And I might invite Joanne as well too, to share some experiences. As I said, this is not necessarily my world, my particular space, but where are some of the industries that you could be getting some of this referral work from?
For mediators, a lot of lawyers. So people go to their lawyer. The lawyer's the dentist, and we've got to try and convince the dentist that we can help.
Lawyers, absolutely. That's great. Relationship counselors. Did somebody say that? Mm-hmm. I said the word relationships. Relationships with firms for non-legal mediators. Yep. So it could be relationships with counselors. It could be lawyers. Lee, who's left a comment for all panelists, which means that only Joanne and I can see it. But Lee, if you want to leave your comments for all panelists and attendees, everyone else can see it, because Lee said support service centers. Now, I don't live and breathe your space. Never would have occurred to me. Never would have occurred to me. Priscilla has said barristers. Julia has said accountants working with business owners. Now, what I really love about this, one person, one problem, one product, is that when it comes to marketing, highly effective marketing happens when you can name the target audience in a way where they look like a meerkat, right? So for example, every time that I have said any name of anyone that's on this call here today right now, anytime that I've said your name, you have looked up. I guarantee it. Didn't you, Anna? Barbara, Craig, Cynthia, David, Aaron, Fiona, Gemma, Jacinta, Jackie, Jean, Jessica, Julia, Ken, Carol, Lee, hey Louise, Sam, Suzanne, Tatiana, Tracy. When I say your name, you look up, right? Which means your marketing is so much more effective, right? You're calling out across a busy, crowded mall. You know, hey Priscilla versus hey you, right? Are you a barrister? Yes, I am, right? Are you a lawyer? Yes, I am. Are you a small business owner accountant? Yes, I am. Are you an accountant that specializes in small business owners? Yes, I am, right? And it also becomes much easier for people to refer your work your way. So Priscilla says barristers. Not many people know this. Joanne, you probably don't know this, but I have a law degree from the University of Melbourne. Didn't do anything with it, but I do know barristers. So that means that if I met Priscilla at a networking event and she said barristers, I go, I know 3. You want an introduction? She says, sure. Now, if Priscilla says, do you know anyone who needs mediation work? I say, no idea, my friend. No idea. That's like, who's got a broken tooth? Who's having a marriage dispute? Whose business is breaking down? Who is hungry right now? I shouldn't have said that, because there's a bunch of people on this call right now that didn't pack a lunch, and they're getting hungry. So here's the doctor on the plane test. If I jumped on a plane and I said, is there a doctor on the plane? The doctors look up like the meerkats. If I jump on the plane and I say, is anyone passionate about health and mindfulness? Well, I kind of care about my health most of the time. The doctor on the plane test. So here's what I want you to do. Imagine the sentence, are there any, and then throw in a target audience right now. And some of you already done it. Are there any barristers on the plane? Are there any accountants on the plane? Are there any lawyers on the plane? Are there any managers of support services centers on the plane? Are there any relationship counselors on the plane? You get me? If you can answer this question, your marketing ability is going to go way up. Alternatively, people go too big or they go too vague. Are there any passionate, future-focused entrepreneurial leaders of change on the plane? Hey, Joanne, are you a leader of change?
Oh, absolutely. But I'm not going to put my hand up because you want to tell me something.
Yeah. And funny, I asked Joanne that, and it could have gone either way, depending on what she had for breakfast.
Yeah.
But however, if I said, are there any trainers on the, on the plane? Joanne puts her hand up, right? You can go deeper. So I just mentioned industry. It could be title. It could also be location. And you add all those different things. Not only can you name them, but you can now find them. Where do you think that you can find these people, guys and gals? Have a guess, and we might come back to that. Where can you find them? If you can find them, you can figure out their headaches. If you can figure out their headaches, you can speak their language and cool things happen. Hey, have a look at this. I do have a slide on an appointment with purpose, and it does have a big box here that says participation bonus. So there we go. I don't know. I think I must be able to predict the future. So by the way, if you haven't participated yet, please do. Just say, I'm here, I'm paying attention, I'm watching, and we'll send you our paid to pitch planner. And you might end up like Troy here, who now gets paid to pitch after giving away things for free. All right. So the big lesson, first big lesson that I wanted to share with you was the monetization mantra. One person, one problem, one product. I also introduced something called an RFA challenge. And RFA stands for Ready, Fire, Aim. It's something that we have in all our programs and our products and our training programs. It's a micro gamble. So rather than ask you to bet the farm, we ask you to perform a micro gamble, an RFA challenge. It stands for Ready, Fire, Aim. Not ready, aim, fire, because you aim forever and maybe never fire. But if you ready, fire, aim, today a whole bunch of people did that. They basically fired. They said, are there any barristers on the plane? And they took the first step. Now they can find those people, they can figure out their headaches, they can start to fill their funnel. Unfortunately, this is how it looks for most people. And I'm specifically going to point the finger at mediators right now. Are you ready? You find yourself in a room, and the people in your room represent the exact type of people that you're put on this planet to help. These are the exact type of people that you've got the special skills where you can resolve their conflicts, and they are going to walk away feeling, well, better than they were when they came in, because there's going to be an outcome or a result or a resolution. 100 people in this room. You get 100 of those people onto your website, onto a phone call. If you get them, okay, let's put it this way. You're standing in a room and there's 100 people in the room and you've been given the opportunity to present. How many of those 100 people do you think that you could sign up as clients in the next 2 weeks? These are your ideal type of person that you were put on this planet to help, that your problem or service was designed to serve. Give me a percentage. Give me a number out of 100. How many people do you think that you could sign in the room right there, right now, using all your powers of finesse and persuasion? Isn't that really interesting? Hey, Jean, if you want to see everyone else, you want everyone else to see your comments, leave your comments for all panelists and attendees. But we've got some fairly extreme ends of the spectrum. I said, how many could you close? Anna said 80% and Julie said 5. By the way, thank you for participating. It's really generous of you to do so. It not only helps you, it helps Joanne and I, this becomes a more fun experience for us as well too. We get an understanding of where you're at, but it also does something really powerful. And that is sometimes I break your guessing machines. That's your brain. I break your guessing machines. I send you down a path to definitively prove you wrong. And when I do that, it's like the twist at the end of a movie. Oh my goodness, Bruce Willis was dead the whole time. And then you remember the movie for the rest of your life. Are you ready? It's usually, what the heck just happened then? It's usually, are you ready? About 3 or 3%. And this 3% are called the active 3%. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. There are 3% of people who are pretty much fired up and ready to go right now. They are the active 3%. Beyond the active 3%, you have about 7%, which are open. They are open to the opportunity. So they might not need you right now, but they might be thinking about it. So you go to the supermarket because you need the toilet paper, you're in the 3%, and you see the hand sanitizer and it's on special, so you go for it. 3% active, 7% open. Then there are about 30% that are aware. So they are aware that a mediator could help them in their situation already. If 30% are aware, what do you think my next 30% is going to be? Anyone want to tap something out? If 30% are aware, what are the next 30% going to be? Thank you. Unaware. And this, if you're selling a complex, service, I might be a business owner and I'm in a dispute with my 7 brothers because we've all inherited Papa's business and we're at loggerheads. And not one of us has it occurred to us that we could seek a mediator. 30% that are unaware. And then there's another 30% that are always going to say no. Do you know why they're going to say no? Because you're a girl and they only want to work with guys, or you're a guy and they only want to work with girls, or you're too young or you're too old. Or they don't like the fact that you're wearing a flannel shirt and they want to work with someone in a suit and you got a silly hat on. Whatever. It's always the way. Humans be weird. And in your space, you know it. They want to work with someone that feels like they share the same values, that someone on their side. So as I ran through that, the message that I was trying to get across is that most people focus on the active 3%. However, the money's in the neglected 97%. So when I said how many you could close, we got a big variation there of different people entering your world. And it should be somewhere between 3 and 10% of people come into your world that are complete strangers. However, the more that you can engage with them, remember all those touch points, 7 to 14, you can start to move the dial in your favor. The more that you engage, the more that you touch. If you want to target the 97%, here's my hot tip, and this is the next RFA. What is the headache that they have before they know they need you? What is the headache that they have before they know they need you? So quickly, if you turn around and said it's a barrister, or if you said it's a lawyer, or if you said it's accountant, what are the headaches that they have before they know they need you? Now, I'm going to put Joanne on the spot. Now, Joanne, what are some of the headaches that a training client, an aspiring mediator, might have before they know they need you? And by the way, every single person on this call was at this stage once.
Yeah.
So what are the headaches that
okay. So one person, one type is a lawyer on maternity leave, thinking about going back to the legal factory with their beautiful baby. They don't want to be leaving that much.
Amazing. I put Joanne on the spot and I said, what is something that, that you had? And it's probably, you know, they probably all would distill down to some sort of like, that's going to say dissatisfaction. I can't get no career satisfaction. The reality is that most people that go through a career change, you're going through a career satisfaction. But I'll tell you what, maybe 6 months or 12 months or 2 years before you made the leap to enter Joanne's world, you probably were not even aware that this could have been an option for you. So Joanne, if she creates content around this idea of career satisfaction, career dissatisfaction for lawyers, right? Or barristers or anyone that's typically in the space, she knows her doctor on the plane. Are you a lawyer that's coming back from maternity leave and you're not quite happy about where your career was heading? You want to find a work-life balance where you can spend more time with your children and take control of your future and your destiny? That's why I've put together the 5 steps to achieving outcome. Yep. So much easier when you have.
I'll just write that down.
What's that, Joanne?
Just write that down.
Write that down. It is being recorded. You can do that. Yeah. So once again, you know, tap it out in the chat field. Have a go. What is the headache that they have before they know they need you? What keeps a barrister awake at night? But a barrister doesn't lie and awake at night and go, honey, I can't get to sleep. I can't decide which mediator to hire. I can't decide which mediator to refer my client work to. The accountant, honey, I can't get to sleep. I need a mediator for my clients. No, got to work out what the headaches that they have before they know they need you. And we're going to use those headaches to enter our world. We don't want to dazzle them and we don't want to sell our core. We don't want to sell mediation services. We want to solve a headache and we want to keep it simple, stupid, which is the opposite of what most people do. So I'm going to break down some building blocks really, really quickly. Building block number 1, if you want to play in this space and you want to build an environment where people are entering your world and they're joining what it is that you do, I can highly recommend that you pull together the combination of a gift and a lead capture gateway. So on the left, you can see a website, and unfortunately websites, we're all friends. We've been together online for an hour now. So I'm going to say a website is a pretty shitty lead capture device. I'm sorry, but sometimes I might use language to make you remember it, right? After this, I'll give the sailor talk, the old heave-ho. But for now, your website tends to be not a very good lead capture tool. And the reason why is on most websites, there are many, 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 many buttons, which is also why most websites convert, the best ones in the world, convert at around 2% of visitors. Doesn't that stink? All right. Now in the middle, you might see a fairly typical long form landing page. And a little bit earlier, somebody mentioned a tool that can be used to build long form landing pages. You can use Unbounce, you can use ClickFunnels, you can use lead pages, you can use Thrive themes with your website. And guess what? The worst landing pages in the world convert at 10%. So a little bit earlier, I talked about adding a step and how we were able to increase our conversions 8-fold. By introducing some sort of like landing page to your world, to your universe, and directing all interest to that page rather than your homepage, or maybe even restructuring your homepage to better resemble a landing page, chances are you're going to increase your conversions 5-fold. Good outcome? But you know what? We love even better a lead capture page, a lead capture gateway. And a lead capture gateway takes about 1/10 of the time to assemble. You don't need design skills. You get a banner like this one done at the top, done by somebody else. And a lead capture page, all it really does is it opens with a no-brainer question. So this example says how to book more conversations with very interested prospects. I land on the page. I want to know how to book more conversations with very interested prospects. And then it has a question. What best describes your situation? Most sales just happen online. Most new client relationships start with a conversation. We just take orders over the phone. Now, given the topic, most people are going to tick 2 and it's going to start and then hit go. And what we're doing is we're giving people the opportunity to exercise their guessing machines, their brains. People love to exercise their guessing machines. They're very curious animals. And then now it's taken the next step, and onwards we go. So I've talked about a booking form, and I've talked about a lead capture gateway. This is something that we call a sandwich page. So maybe 45 minutes ago, I said one of the most powerful pieces of your online funnel is the success page. And that's the page that appears after a transaction. So if you are running a McDonald's and somebody buys a hamburger, the person doesn't say, "Have a nice day." They say, "Would you like fries with that?" And the success page is kind of like that, because it's one of those rare instances where somebody lands on a page and online you have their absolute undivided attention. Like, how often does that happen online? Like, never. But someone's just given you their first name, last name, email address, maybe a phone number. They've hit submit and they're going, "Did it work? Did it work? Did it work? Oh yeah, it worked." And you have someone's absolute undivided attention. So I'm going to say exploit that. So this is something that we call a sandwich page. We have the opt-in gift, followed by a diagnostic, and then the diagnostic redirects to an ultimate online transaction page. A diagnostic is a page like a quiz or a checklist. It's a survey that gives rather than takes, and it's an opportunity to answer a whole bunch of different questions. Bad clients are terrible. You don't want bad clients. Bad clients take, they take 5 times the work of a good client. So when you sign up a bad client, you may as well, cross off 4 other good clients that you've had, right? So it's really good that if you can pre-qualify, identify red flags, deal breakers, refer them elsewhere if they're not right for you. But it's also really great at elevating anticipation and heightening their awareness of why they might need you, so that when you hit the next page, the booking tool, they look at what it is that you're offering here and they go, "Heck, you know what? This person has just asked me a series of questions, which made me more aware of the challenges that I'm facing, so that I am more inclined at this particular time to book a time, and let's make this happen." Somebody has asked what's the difference between a web page and a landing page? The reality is a web page is a landing page, and a landing page is a web page. And also a lead gateway is a landing page, and a home page could also be a landing page. The reality is the different pages have a different purpose. A home page is typically long and cumbersome with too many distractions. A landing page, there's usually only 2 options: take the next step or leave. And a lead gateway is a form of a landing page, but it's not an old school long form landing page, which we're all growing a little bit tired and fatigued with. It's something that allows people to exercise their guessing machines and take it to the next level. So once again, we're back here and we're pulling together the building blocks. So who wants to quickly remind me at this moment? Who wants to remind me, how many steps are there? What are the optimal number of steps in some sort of online rapport building, trust building, meeting, booking, lead capturing type of funnel? Who wants to give me a number? Who wants to give me a number? What's the optimal number of steps? What do you think the optimal number of steps might be in your world? 14 says Craig. Thank you. Craig is listening. Woohoo. Who wants to give me another number? Tap it out, reinforce the lesson. The reality is there really is no set number, but we tend to get the idea and understanding that it's going to be somewhere between about 7 and 14. So imagine for a second that you engage with someone on LinkedIn. Step 1, you engage with someone on LinkedIn. You don't say, "Hey, let's catch up and I can explore ways where you can give me lots of money or refer lots of work my way." You say, "Hey, it's really interesting what you're doing. I put this together for people just like you." And they go, "Man, that's totally focused on the headache that I have right now." They take that next step. They're redirected to a diagnostic. We can collect some more detail about that particular person, and then they can book a call. Of course, when they opt in to get your thing, there is a piece of the puzzle that we can't neglect. 1, we want to give them the thing that they asked for. 2, we want to introduce ourselves. And 3, we want to remind them that if they haven't booked the call, they should most definitely book the call. And they might need a couple extra nudges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And those 7 steps can all happen largely auto-magically within the first 3 days. I want to reference and reinforce this message once again about the value of having a diagnostic. And the reason why I want to reference the value of having a diagnostic is that some people don't come into your world through your proactive activities. They come into your world up here. They come in as an inbound referral. Someone's referred your way. They respond to one of your emails. They engage with you. They reach out to you on social media. They click a button on your website. And the typical response of most people is get them on the email, get them on the phone call. Let's close this sucker down and make it happen. Yeah? Now, once again, what's the moral of the story? The first story I told you, don't try and marry a stranger on the first date. If someone reaches out to us in our world or any of our clients, we say, thanks for reaching out. I really look forward to seeing whether I can assist you. Here's what I want you to do. Click this link, complete this mini online diagnostic, and then you'll be able to book a time. Who's the boss? Who's the authority? Who's the authority? Who's the credibility? It's you. It's absolutely you. And like as Ben said, in the past, I would get an email from a prospect saying, please call me, usually after 5 p.m. I had no information about that prospect. Now I get a full list of their email, their website, how much money they're making, whether they're making profits, what they want to do with their business. My phone hardly rings anymore, but I get 4 times the amount of inquiries per day. I now have to refuse coffee meetings unless they book a 15-minute teleconference. And then it is a 2-week wait to get to see me. I've now too much work on. Thank you. Now, you know, Ben is in a different industry to yours. He is in the grant space. But what are the sorts of things you would like to know in advance? And wouldn't your life be so much better if you got into the habit, are you ready, of auditioning clients? Okay? Write this down on a piece of paper or use the chat tool. I love auditioning clients, right? You're the one with the golden ticket to Hollywood, right? Remember that. I love auditioning clients. So pop quiz, have you been paying attention before we enter the home straight? If you spend money on any form of marketing or advertising, where should you direct your traffic? Thank you, Jessica, for playing along. Pop quiz, if you spend any money on any form of marketing or advertising, where should you direct your traffic? Craig says a landing page, even better. What about a lead capture page? Which is a form of landing page. Thank you very much. If you get a referral, what should you do with that person? Should you just call them or direct them where? Where should you direct them? Diagnostic. Thank you very much. If you spend any time fussing around on social media, what should be your end goal? This is a little bit trickier. If you spend any time fussing around on social media, what should be your ultimate end goal? Likes, shares, engagement, connections, fans, authority, credibility. Are you ready? Here's my goal if you're using social media. Get them off social media. That's it. That's your goal. Get them off social media. Get them off social media. Get them into your lead capture gateway or straight to your diagnostic or straight to your AWP if it's exactly the type of person that you need and you want and you've already got the relationship. But your main goal for using social media is to get them off social media. And gee, it's far more helpful and easier if you have some devices to help that happen. Any one of those 3 will do. So what have we missed so far? Lead capture, pre-qual, UOT. Email is one of the pieces, which unfortunately we can't go into in a whole lot of detail today. And intelligent outbound is how we collect the lead. Now, intelligent outbound, I'm going to return to in just a little bit. But what I will say is that if you can tackle 2, 3, 4, wow, that there is the difference between people that are spending all day, every day trapped in the hamster wheel, running, not going very far, and people who can take it to the next level. Who would like to see this in action? I actually have an example somewhere that I was going to show you. A real world example. It's not a mediation example, so you'll have to use your imaginations, but that's okay. Would anyone like to see an example? Someone give me a holler. Just say, yeah, or yes, please. Rock and roll. Let's have a look at an example here. Let's have a look. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
All right, excellent, cool. And Jessica said, please apply it to a mediation case. Let's apply this to the best of our ability. All right, so what you see on the screen right now is a page called How to Book More Conversions with Very Interested Prospects. If you're familiar with that page, I showed it to you a little bit earlier. This is a lead capture gateway, and it was built using a tool called B2B Dash. Now, I have a vested interest in B2B Dash because I was so impressed by B2B Dash, like that old shaver ad, I bought the company. I went into business partnership with the founder, right? So how to book more conversations with very interested prospects. Now, once again, you can bring this back to your target audience, whether it's a barrister or it's a lawyer, what keeps them awake at night, right? What would be something that you could do? They look at it, they answer the question, bam, it starts. Put in my details and off I go. Success, prepare yourself for a surprise in 3, 2, 1. Great, you have unlocked a secret one-time only invitation. B2B funnel mapping session. What type of business do you have? B2B. How much is a good client worth? Now what I'm doing is I'm vetting a prospect. I'm reading minds at this particular point. Collecting information like a phone number. Making sure that I'm not having the same conversations with the same people again and again. Great, almost done. It didn't ask for my first name, last name again, right? Or email. It already captured that information. Where's your head at? Do you show up? Yes, I show up. I want a 45-minute session or a 15-minute session. This is a great way to give them an option rather than yes or no. Do you want to book a time? Yes or no? This is either or. Do you want a 15-minute or a 45-minute session? Increases the conversion. Success, the form successfully submitted. Great, you qualify for a call with John. And I can book my meeting here and now. Once again, this is all powered with B2B Dash. I'm not going to book a call with John because I don't want to fill up all the gaps in his diary. He doesn't have enough spots as it is already. Now that was all done using this particular tool called B2B Dash, which you can see on the screen right now. And the dashboard, which is why it's called B2B Dash, looks something like that. So this is a gratuitous technology plug, but I hope you find it worthwhile. There's me. You can see that I just came into it. Let's look at last quarter. What was my data for like last quarter? I can flip back in time. So this is, we use this to manage a small part of our business. I can see that I got 514 leads, 163 bookings. My show up rate and my booking rate is very high because I automate my emails using campaigns. I got a 67% open rate on my emails because it runs through my own Gmail account or my Outlook account. I can even see how much money I'm actually making or have made during that time frame. And that is because with this particular tool, you can take money up front. If you ever want to get off the invoicing hamster wheel, sending invoices, it really, really helps if you have a tool that will allow you to pull together some sort of cart page that you can use to take the money, something like that. And you know what? People will use cart pages for big amounts. This is 9,600 USD. People will use cart pages for big amounts. It sounds funny, but they will. And we've got people in our world, and I don't know how much a mediation client is, but say it was like $900 and you're chasing an invoice for $900. Joanne just rolled her eyes. You know, if someone doesn't want to pay their $900, it's not even worth chasing them because of the cost. But if they've paid that $900 up front, that's a much better scenario, I believe. So I got a question for you guys and gals. I want to hear aha moments, take homes, and epiphanies. What has come out of our time together so far where you went, whoa, I'm probably not doing things the way that I should be. Maybe I should be doing something a little bit differently. You might be thinking, that is something that I'm going to tell my business partner. If you work with a business partner, that is something that I'm definitely going to share with a work colleague. What is something that really jumped out of our time together where you're thinking, you know what, I'm actually going to apply that? Or even better, I'm actually going to apply that in the next 24 hours. One of my goals when I do these types of events, and it's why I have these RFA challenges, is because I want you to take action. And when you take action, you get results. And when you get results, you become an ambassador. And when you become an ambassador, you become a client, like Joanne. Joanne as a client that became an ambassador. But we're probably helping Joanne before she became a client as well too. So let's have a look. Jean needs to focus on a doctor on the plane. Excellent, Jean. David, target headaches of my clients. Yep, the headaches. And if we have some time, we can actually brainstorm and play around with these ideas. And I need to focus on my lead capture gateway and invest in that. Terrific. Jessica, does B2B dash page include the booking and billing service? The whole shebang. Craig, what causes the client to go to the landing page? Well, that there is called intelligent outbound. And I am going to go into that a little bit. So how do people mess up with this? I'm really glad to see people putting up their hands saying, this is what I want to do. Here are the actions that I want to take. That's really gratifying to see that I've got you thinking about what it is that you might want to do to change up your business. But you know what? This is how people tend to mess up, how they tend to screw up. This is the reality of business. You became a mediator because you wanted to change things up. You wanted to be a mediator. You wanted freedom. You wanted autonomy. You wanted to make decisions about your business, your life, and yourself. And then you jumped into it and you discovered that you suddenly needed to be a business owner. And not only did you need to be a business owner, you needed to be a small business owner. And a small business owner is really, really hard because you don't have the tech crew, the tech support line that you probably had at the big law firm. You got to do everything yourself. So what ends up happening is you join this world and you go, well, I went to that webinar and clearly based on everything that guy James said, if I want to target barristers, if I want to find lawyers, family lawyers, specifically, I should be jumping on LinkedIn. If you want to find family lawyers, go to LinkedIn. Very easy to find them, build a relationship. So you go, I'm going to do that. And then, like Anna, you go, well, you know what? If I go out to those people, I'm going to need some way to capture them. So she starts to put together a lead capture page. And then suddenly she goes, but you know what? I'm not really clear on the angle quite yet for these lawyers. And you know what? If I don't have an angle, how am I going to build rapport and educate them? So you know what I might do? I might run a reactivation campaign and target my existing clients so I can focus on one specific audience and get clarity around this angle. And that's the way I can leverage the audience that I currently have. But you know what? As I'm doing this, I'm beginning to realize that my network is made up of a whole bunch of different people. I need some mechanism to qualify these people while I'm educating them. You know what I should have done in the first place? I should have started by talking to strategic marketing alliance partners. That's the way I should have done, because I know that Joanne has some training and James has some training as well too on strategic marketing alliance and partnerships. Maybe that's where I should have focused. But you know what? I'm not clear on the types of people that I should be focusing on a strategic marketing alliance. So I better educate myself and then leverage some things and then reactivate some stuff and then form some catch, blah, 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 blah. Was that uncomfortably familiar?
Somewhat.
This is how we all do it. This is how we all do it, particularly when we start out. So what we've done is we've developed a program called the recipe that goes like this. You focus on that bit, you focus on that bit, you focus on that bit, and you rinse and repeat. So I think it was someone asking about how do we get people to the lead capture page? Our favorite strategies are LinkedIn, reactivation, and SMAPs, strategic marketing alliances and partnerships. But before you get there, you probably want audience clarity, come up with an angle, turned it into a thing using our content leverage process. We have a process where we show you how to create 5 to 15 items of content in as little as 90 minutes. You'll want the tools to automate, to capture, to educate, to qualify, and then you might go around again. And this is the nature of business, and it's the nature of sales and marketing. And what we do is we create systems, because systems equal sanity, and we work through a process. And we work through a process, we get better and better and better at doing this stuff, and our conversion rates get higher. It becomes less of a demanding thing on us as business owners, and we can focus on the things that we love. So I will, as I said at the very beginning, be giving you an opportunity to work with us if you are interested in this. To do that, we have a program. Is this the one that you went through, Joanne? Was it the recipe?
Yes.
Came into our world, the recipe.
Yeah.
This was your starter. Okay. And this is training that we sell for $1,997 USD. Or today, I'm going to show you how to get it for free. Well, hello there. It was a little under a week ago that I recorded that presentation. And sadly, the offer that I made at the end has expired. But however, if you are interested in working with me and my crew, here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you to head over to, what's the link? I think it's b2b-io/apply. b2b-io/apply. Bam, and you'll land on this particular page. It will ask you some questions, and if it looks like there is a fit, you'll be given the opportunity to speak with me or a member of my crew. Excellent. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. I hope you got value from that presentation, and bye for now.